Yo, what is going on, everybody? How are you guys doing? Let me try to remove this here. Boom. Um, yeah, welcome back to episode 2 of DTISF Daily Check-In. I'm here joined by...
Oh, you want my name?
I want
Hi,
you
I'm
to...
Christina Moore. I'm the program coordinator for Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation.
And I realized I forgot to introduce myself yesterday. So I'm Eric Garcia, um, marketing expert, marketing specialist, let's say. I don't know. We're still figuring that out. And then before we start today's little check-in, we want to share a quick little video with you guys, and then we're going to react to it and then get right into it. So check out this video by Bob Proctor. Alrighty. Christina, what do you think of that video?
It's an interesting video for me to watch. On the one hand, like the music and everything makes me feel like motivated, like, yeah, let's get out there and do it. On the other hand, I do feel like sometimes things like that don't always have a place. Like we sometimes need to meet people where they are, and sometimes they're not in those like extra capable moments, right? So I, striking a balance to that. Like I totally believe in manifestation, and
Nice.
and I do feel like if you put your mind to something, you really can make that happen. But there's always another side to that. So yeah, it's a good video. I'm pumped up for my day, but I don't know how long that'll last either.
Well, I did put it on 2x speed or 1.25x speed.
Oh, it was faster
Yeah, it
than
was
normal. Oh,
faster.
so I'm like extra jazzed. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna bring on a special guest here. Let's bring her on. Boom, Ra, what did you think
I'm
of that
back,
video?
y'all.
Bye
I'm back,
bye.
I'm back, y'all. Um, I really, I guess I'm definitely in Christina's avenue of thinking. Understanding that we're capable of anything, that the human mind and the human body is an extraordinary machine that can do incredible things, but also understanding that we are um, a part of an ecosystem, and there are things outside of us that will influence what we are capable of doing and what we're not capable of doing. No one gets mad when and people don't exclaim to not understand when animals are incapable of thriving in certain environments because it's not an environment that is habitable to them, but can't understand why human beings have a hard time thriving under certain conditions. It doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, the kind of meeting people where they're at and understanding that there are always ideal conditions, and some people can do better under worse conditions. They have the ability, but not everybody not everybody is in a place to be their best person regardless. And that's I feel like our society is like, no, bootstraps, bitches. Like, if I could do it, you could do it. If so and
Yeah,
so could do it, so and so could do it. And
yeah,
it trivializes the human condition. Everybody's experiences are different. Everybody's reality is different. Like, I think conceptually that is something that we don't pay attention to, is that reality is subjective. The things that you experience in your day are what construct your reality, and that is a different reality than mine. I didn't experience those things during the day, therefore they didn't happen for me, therefore they didn't exist for me, therefore that was not my reality.
Right. That's a good. That's. I almost want to get into like a philosophical conversation,
anytime.
because
I do it
that's
often.
That's
good.
what Ra and I love to do.
I like that too. I like doing that. I would say I want to offer my perspective here because
Yeah,
I
please.
like I like both of those, like the balancing of that. And I would say one thing that I took from this video was like getting rid of the analytical part of my mind, because that's how I think, and then just kind of having a belief towards something and putting my mind to it.
Mm,
I realized that as soon as I start like truly believing in whatever it is I'm gonna do, oh man, it just changes me altogether. And so
mhm,
part of, I guess, what we're doing here is like sharing the stories so that people can have something to believe in. And so I
mhm,
really like how it's just like all coming together, all connected. And whether it is, meeting someone like where they need to be met at, I think like we're the perfect team to do that. And so, and for the rest of the team that's not here as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yeah,
that
that was
wholly
I didn't expect that video.
way to
Huh?
tie that in. I don't I Way to tie that back in. Just to expound a little bit, to elaborate a little bit on that, as what Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation does. Um, you know, we give our young people, those of us who participate in our internship program, like the an example of that belief, right? Like the idea that they can pursue, they
Hmm.
can exist within this sphere and this realm, like, because it might not have been an option for them because they didn't see it in practical application, right? Believing is an understanding, and seeing that wedded with the logic, saying like, "Oh, I absolutely 100% believe that I can make a living being a videographer. I can do this." And then we come and we're like, "Yep, and let's show you how." Like, that's a wonderful reframing, and that can shift someone's entire way of thinking, someone's entire life, like, plan. It's really cool.
That's amazing. I mean, you did mention internship program, and we have our program coordinator right here. Do you want to maybe expand on what Ross saying, and talk about
Yeah.
our internship program,
Yeah.
maybe how it's been going recently, stories about Poppy, our latest
Mhm.
intern?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like Ra was saying, and like you said, we do try to offer an internship program that one of the things that I love the most about our little organization is our representation. So the believing is seeing thing part, like being able to have these kids come in here and see that like we're all a bunch of like neurodiverse dorks who are just trying to like live a good life. And
Exactly.
I think it's so special. So like Poppy, for instance, was or it is a French teenager that we had the opportunity to host for 5 weeks here. She got connected through her aunt who works at School of Rock down the street from us, and we connected, community connections. And she said, "Hey, I have a niece who's coming to the States for the summer and has to do an internship. She's a photographer." And we said, "Okay, let's do it. Bring her out here." It turned out to be like such a magical, wonderful experience. She, I think, was 16.
Yeah. I think so.
16.
16, yeah. And so for those of you who don't know, French schools are very different. And so you're kind of educating yourself in your chosen profession in high school. It's much more like focused. And so she's a very like serious photographer, and she came out here to gain kind of serious photographer experience, and instead got to work with Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation, where we don't do anything seriously, but it all turns out to be seriously epic, if you will. So like, Poppy had several opportunities where she got to go out and be of service to our community and to her temporary community, and to see, what nonprofit work and service work looks like in the community. Am I talking too much? Or
No, that's
okay.
actually a great point.
And so she got to take photos for Postpartum Support Center. They did a walk, and she took photos for them. She got to do a Guide Dogs for the Blind live stream. She helped live stream Terralinda High School's graduation. So she really got to like put some content out for the community and participate and really see it. And from her feedback, she loved everything that she got to do. One of the best things I think I heard her say on her final interview was, she was discussing like her personality and that she's a little introverted, and sometimes that comes off to other people as like weird, right? But her quick retort was, "Well, I don't really care, because that's another word for unique." And she said it with such confidence and clarity, like she really understood that truly is what it is, and I wholeheartedly agree with her.
Yeah.
And it just made me so happy to know that like she got to spend 5 weeks with people who are also weird / unique, and find a space where she belongs, and know that there are people internationally like her. Yes, we don't have the right kind of mayonnaise or mustard, according to her. But other than that, she was like really happy to come here and do service work and be a part of. And I know that changed her outlook on things. So I'm stoked that she gets to go back to France and share that with her little community.
Is there a video we can play after this internship, or wrap up video
of her interview? Yeah. I don't know that that's been edited yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys
coming
have to stay
soon.
tuned. Yeah, exactly. Wait, Ra, can you recap? Because I know you mentioned that you guys went to go see some horses. I didn't know about that. Didn't get an invite either, but okay, I forgive you guys.
So you're not the only one that is in their feelings about the lack of invite. So when we spoke to Heather, who is Poppy's aunt, who is the founder of the San Rafael School of Rock organization, that San Rafael chapter. She let us know that uh, Poppy loved horses, and that was a particular interest to her, was equestrian photography. And so one of the things that we also strive to do with our interns is to indulge them their passions, right? Just like we, our slogan is, enabling people to pursue their passions through photography and videography. For young people, we also want to help them. We want to let them explore that, indulge in that, indulge in the things that they're interested in. And so, um, on Poppy's last week here, we were able to go up to a partner of ours' property. She had 3 horses. Roxanne's been an incredible supporter of Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation. She sits on our board. She is an incredible woman who gives back in so many different ways, and we're very lucky to have her on our board and as part of our partnerships, one of our partners for our organization. Even better, she's like, "Yeah, bring Poppy up." Bring her up. So we got to go up and take pictures, and Poppy was able to take photos of all 3 of the horses in the pasture. And it was the most peaceful experience. Like Poppy's energy was always really chill. Don't get me wrong. One of the chillest 16-year-olds I think I've ever met. But like her energy around the horses was phenomenal. Like the happiness was just like wafting off of her.
And
It
the
was
horses were super standoffish at first, and she kind of started to walk towards them, and they just walked right up to her.
Oh wow.
They wanted really like nothing to do with the rest of us, but they were totally into saying hi to Poppy, which was amazing. She got to kiss an American horse, which she wanted to do. So we have a really cute picture of her kissing the snout of one of the horses.
We'll have to
show that too.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have to
for
show
sure.
that. That's amazing.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
sounds so fun. That sounds like yeah, like I like how you mentioned that piece. Like that just I can just the way you're telling that story is like fuck. I wish I got an invite. No, yeah.
There were pigs and chickens and miniature donkeys and dogs. It was amazing.
I've heard a lot about Roxanne's little spot up there. She was telling me last time we were filming, and yeah, that's amazing how she's doing that. We just had that opportunity for Poppy, really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's
Roxy's
one of the
Ranch
things that we love to do. Yeah, Roxy's what? Horse Haven?
Roxy's Ranch Haven, and we'll have a lot of other opportunities to do partnership work with her on her property as she starts to build it up. Um, I would like for us as teams to kind of like, unrelated side note, I would like for us as a team to share in each other's interests. I think we've been struggling to come up with team building exercises and activities. I think a hike was mentioned yesterday at a team meeting, but not on yesterday's recap, but at the team meeting this week. A hike was mentioned. I definitely think some kind of sports activity needs to be needs to be indulged in. I have like an obsession with escape rooms, and I, being the operational director, I'm like, yeah, that's our team building. Sorry, guys, we're doing an escape room. But
So much.
I think that's also another way for us to stay grounded in our mission to allow people to pursue their passions. It's a reminder that we all are passionate people in our own right, um, and we should be able to celebrate that as well. Speaking of celebrating, we are doing our annual Celebrate Life barbecue tomorrow from 4 to 7. And speaking of ranches, Trevor will be bringing up the meats for the event will be homegrown farm to table from the Henley homestead. So again, this is all just one big melting pot of epicness. And
Yeah, it's our little
really
community with community.
it's super unprofessional for me to get off the screen
No, go get your coffee. Be unprofessional because, you know.
Good.
I'm gonna go get coffee. I'll be back.
Okay. I'm gonna remove you and then re-add you back in. Yeah, guys, that's gonna be fun tomorrow. If you guys
Yeah.
haven't been to our barbecues before, please pull up. Feel free to pull up, get some food. At least for the food, the food's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on that, you know me, and I'm trying to stay strict to the diet, but I just can't whenever I'm here.
Yeah, the barbecue is awesome. And the community, sense of community, the people that show up, it's all a great opportunity.
Yeah. So let's before Ron comes back, I didn't ask you. Well, I didn't ask anyone yet, but how you doing? It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks or a week or so.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a week, right?
Yeah.
How am I doing? Doing all right. Yeah, just, you know, balancing, always trying to balance, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how I play my game, is like, what if I'm out of, you know, like if this is my midline, right? You know, and there's big energy this way, I try to think about like, what can I do to kind of bring it down and offset that and bring it back to neutral. And, you know, I'm busy. It's hard to prioritize and focus and feel like I'm doing enough and the right things and all that stuff. So yeah, just that I feel like I'm lacking that mindfulness of just being aware of what I'm doing. Instead, I'm just kind of going through the motions to try and get stuff done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask you a question because we talked about this yesterday, and I'm curious to know your answer. I think speaking about it might help you kind of find the priorities about it. Because I asked Trevor and Raw yesterday, like, what is your approach to our situation? If you guys haven't watched the video from yesterday, we had talked about how basically we're sort of running out of money. We're sort of basically in need of client community help partnerships at this moment in time. And so speaking about that to other people, because I feel like I talk a lot about, you know, DTI and what I do. And I know a lot of people know what I do. And so they're asking me like, oh, how's everything going? Just casually. And for me, that conversation, that approach is a little bit new. I've never had to say like, yo, I'm not getting paid this week. But talking about it, I think helped me out, like figuring out like, okay, well, maybe this week then I have to focus on other things and, you know, maybe on myself, for example. What is that conversation like for you and how do you approach that?
Sure. That's a great question. Yeah. I mean, I think as an organization, we're in this like uncomfortable growth period, right? Like we're hitting a new level that we haven't hit before, where we have a big team and all of these opportunities, but the like groundwork hasn't necessarily, or the infrastructure hasn't necessarily been laid out. So for me, I want to help build that. Like that's how I think about it, is like where can I focus my efforts to create a support beam or something like that. Like, you know, yeah. So in my personal life, you know, I have 2 jobs. So that means like asking for more hours at my other job so that I can alleviate some of the burden, you know, on our organization here at DTISF. Yeah, I'm not super worried about it. I mean, you know, like I live in financial insecurity all the time. It's one of the joys of living in Marin County as a young individual, without a, you know, partner, second income, anything like that. So I don't long term. What am I trying to say? I'm not super worried about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think that as an organization, we have such a magical team. Like, I don't really foresee anybody like giving up or walking away or not putting in their full effort and their heart into it too, you know? And I think that's really the like amazing thing about this organization, is like this is a situation that if I were differently minded, I would say, oh, thanks, y'all, bye. Like, you know, like, oh, you don't have a paycheck for me? Okay, deuces. Like, but but what this organization gives back to me on a daily basis is worth this time of discomfort. Yeah. It's worth seeing this through. It's worth seeing how this all like unfolds. So I'm in it, you know.
That's so good. I like that. That's literally self-reflection and then growth after that. You know, like that's crazy how you reflected on like if you were different minded. You know, like that's well, first of all, that's rare, but I think to acknowledge that's how you actually are, and now you are different, you grew. That's really inspiring for me.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Man, that was a great message. Yeah, fuck. I think I don't know what to say. Like you
trying to do this every day.
This is every day. This is like I think this is what we need.
This is intense.
I think we don't get these. Say it again.
We're just out here bearing souls on a Wednesday.
I think. Well, part of why I like doing this is because I don't think we have these type of conversations enough. Like I know Christina and I went to Berkeley like 2 months ago to a shoot for Lifelong, and we just had like a interesting conversation, just talking about life, talking about how we see things, how we come to conclusions, and how we operate in our lives, just day-to-day conversation. And it was very deep, and I really enjoyed that, and I think I crave that. And so having these sort of like little meetings, team meetings, or daily check-ins is like, for me at least, one of the solutions that I think will help us kind of get out of this sort of struggle that we're going through, but more importantly, figure out a way that something that's going to work through this growth period, and then something hopefully we can sustain in the long term. Because like I would agree with 100% with what you said is like, me personally as well, like before I probably would have been like, yeah, peace out guys, like see ya. Now I do value like just like these conversations right here. And so having this sort of conversation, this setting, and be able to do it online and just through tech, the way the world's going with the digital age, I'm like grabbing bits and pieces of like, just, I don't know how to explain it. Like there's a massive storyline. I see this as a movie. Like my life is a movie. I'll say that our lives is a movie. And the way I see it playing out right now is yeah, like we're grabbing bits and pieces of the solution, putting it all together, and then we're documenting it for everybody out there to see, and so they can kind of tag along. And then you don't get these moments in our presentations, in our work on our website. No one else sees this stuff. Like only we see it when we're here. And it's very hard to pick up a camera and record 24/7. But if we can set up a consistent time, consistent day, then
someday,
yeah, at least it's starting. So. Man, super happy that you did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I that's what I love about this organization. And you and I, every time that you and I have gone and done, because we did that one here in San Rafael too at the community center.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like every time you and I have gotten to spend time together, we always end up having these great conversations about life and how we approach things. And that's the like service work that I love the most, is being able to share my to borrow from Alcoholics Anonymous, your experience, strength, and hope, right? Is like what one of the things that they talk about. And I think about that often, and I use my ability to be honest as a tool to connect with people.
Yeah.
I'm willing to share things about my life that like most people probably aren't necessarily right away.
Right.
And if I can build that connection, it eases their like ego and their ability to like come down a little bit and like also share what's going on, right? And then that's where you have that frequency, you meet that person where they're at, right? And that to me is like the most magical thing about what we do is meeting people, having that human connection, and getting people to empathize and think about where they fit in their community. Like, yeah, I see. So I, work at a coffee shop, part-time too. And what I see there daily is like, everybody's kind of in it for themselves. Like they just want their cup of coffee so they can get out the door, and do their job. They're not thinking about anybody else that's around. Right. But then I get to come here, and I'm not saying they're bad people or anything, but just in that moment, they really need their coffee. Right.
That's why I stopped drinking coffee, by the way.
But there's that lack of humanity, right? Like it's just an exchange of goods and services and that kind of thing, and then I get to come here and I get to like talk to young people and hear about what's going on in their lives and like be able to say like, oh my gosh, I remember when I was, your age and this happened to me and this is how I dealt with it. And, this is what I went through. And hey, just to let you know, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's magic. Right. I love that.
Yeah. I appreciate that. The honesty part is like 1,000% important. The honesty, the genuine curiosity. Ra, I know I want to ask you because I remember there was this one time. This is just about honesty. Like I think you were telling me like I dressed pretty nice that day, and I was like, oh, thanks. Like I'm trying to look more professional, and you were wearing sweats, and I actually really really value that because now I'm wearing sweats right now. But just the lesson you taught me, like basically,
he's not even wearing pants, y'all.
I know the Zoom you can kind of get away with it. Well, the lesson you taught me there was like, yeah, first of all, like the self confidence, kind of going back to what you're talking about, Poppy, like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, and then dropping the ego and just like, yeah, I don't care, I'm gonna do what's best for me in order to perform for our bigger mission. I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, self-care, right? Like maybe today you don't have the energy to put on like a hella nice outfit, but you do have the energy to show up and work. Like what's wrong with that? You're still showing up and working.
Yeah,
right. So there's a really interesting mindset that comes with presentation. And it's fascinating for me from a behavioral sciences standpoint because we as humans are there's something called locusts of control, and it's the things that drive us, right? So you have internal locusts of control, which means the things that drive you stem from self, and you have external locusts of control, which means the things that drive you stem from outside of self. And I love that you and Cesar have this amazing sense of style. You guys know how to dress up, you know how to look good. And it's really important. Like Cesar's a grown ass man. He about to have a baby. Like I'm gonna leave Cesar to do his business. But one of the things that I try to press on my children and on other young people is that other people's perceptions of you have no bearing on your competency, your integrity, or your ability to be the best version of yourself. So if you're doing the work of appearing to be what other people assume is competence, then you will always be found wanting by someone.
Right.
Whereas if you are dressing for you, like if you are Gucci street ready because you felt like you needed to be Gucci street ready, then no one is going to affect how good you feel about yourself or how you present to the world. Like I know there are days where I need to be decked to the nines, not for any reason having to do with other people, but because I need that extra boost. Like I need to look at myself in the mirror and go, yes, like I need that moment. But that Raw deck to the nines and Raw in her work onesie are still going to do the same level of work. I'm still going to be that committed to my position. And I always say that comparison is the thief of joy. I got it from somewhere, quote from somewhere that I have since adopted as my own. And when you're dressing for others, then all you're doing is comparing yourself to others. You're not doing for you. You don't have that internal locus of control. And that's where ego, I feel like borders where confidence and ego meet at that line, right? Ego has to do with how other people see you. Confidence has to do with how you see yourself.
Right. Yeah,
Sweats all the way.
Well, we are at 35, so I'll wrap it up by saying this, that thank you guys both for your time, for the wisdom, because that was some bombs we just dropped, which was amazing. Thank you for the announcements and as well as the stories and just catching up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and we'll have you guys on probably next Wednesday as well to run back this segment. For those of you guys watching, tomorrow we're actually going to have Javier and Cesar talking or reacting to another a video, I guess, like that was edited pretty nicely, and they're going to be talking about it's going to be like a Q&A session, question and answer.
Cool.
So stay tuned for that if you guys are interested in high level videography and cinematography. Until next time, we will see you all later.